Welcome to a demo of RESTpoint. Today we're going to show you how to import OpenAPI and turn that instantly into a real working API backend deployed in the cloud. So let's get started. I'm going to click Login here off restpoint.io homepage. I've already entered my CRUDs before, so we jump right in. So I'm going to start with choosing a project, and I'm going to call this OpenAPI. And I'm going to go to my import, and I'm going to import from URL, and I'm going to go over to the OpenAPI spec, click on raw, and that will be the URL I will use. And then I'm going to go paste, and then I have to click this button, and you'll see there's all the OpenAPI that I'm importing. You can make any changes here if you'd like. So I'm going to click add the project. So this is building the back end, importing all the paths, and on an import, it will import all the paths, generate these in the design section, so you're all set up to add more paths in the future, modify anything. It sets up a default data collection, so you'll see that for the design, a collection was set up with a database. One example in here with no name or tag failed out. And it would have deployed this instantly to the cloud, because anytime we import OpenAPI, we go ahead and we just deploy what it is right now. So let's go give this a test. Here's all the information now on your real deployed API backend in the cloud. Let's grab, these are all the endpoint paths. There's only one endpoint path, and that's pets. So let's grab that. And I'm going to paste this in here. We'll do a get right off the bat. And now I need to go get an endpoint key, an access key. And I'll paste that in. You'll notice the key is called X endpoint key, and it's passed into the header through the authorization. So when I click get, this will send a command from Postman out to your deployed app in the cloud, which is now a real deployed API backend, and fetch the collection. And what do we see? We see the one item in the collection, which was empty, that was set up by default. So let's add one more. So I'm going to copy this for ease of example. So I'm going to go into the body, make a JSON, and I'll drag this down a little. Give us a little room. So I'm going to make this ID to be 2, just to get rid of UUIDs, make it a little easier to read. And I'm going to call this Rover and a dog. Alright, and that is just something that's system generated. Now I'm going to change this to a post, and to show you that it's a real working API backend, you'll see the 200, that post works. Okay, now I'm going to click here and do a get, and you'll see there is our account, there's the data, and that was there before. So to show the other calls that work, I'm going to delete this. And we'll delete this. And you'll see there's our 204. Come back and do a get. Oops, yeah, naturally our get is gone. We just deleted it. To show you that didn't work, and now to show you what's left in the collection. And there we go, just the rover and the dog that we created. So there you turned OpenAPI into a real API backend, nothing to do with generating code. This is the OpenAPI definition for the server. So to show you how easy you could just edit this and create your next iteration, let's just come into the resource, because you'll see here, there's my paths. I have one path, and my resource is my pet. So I'm going to go into the pet resource, and let's say I wanted to add a field called color. And I'm going to update the resource, and we'll keep it string for now. I'm going to update the resource. Because I'm in design mode, that will automatically add a new field into my collection and update the database for the new field. So you now see there's a color. So let's say I wanted to give my next iteration out for users. I can just come right here and say deploy this now, this new version to the cloud. And I'm going to call this beta 2, my next version. I will copy the data that I have here and the pets. So now let's deploy. And you'll see now there's our next version. And because we didn't change any paths, this is all we need to do is just change the endpoint key. So we come in, change the endpoint key. And now we should see when we get the pets, we should see a color, which will be an empty string because this is the new data. And you'll see there's color in there. And then of course you can run all the rest as you see from our other demos. These are all the other documents. You can get an OpenAPI right away. Let's say we go to v3 instead of v2. I'm just going to grab this. This makes it easy to use. So we just hit enter. And that's our API. That's our OpenAPI 3. And if I wanted to browse that using Swagger UI, I would post one here. This will use the Swagger UI utility. And you see here our endpoint key, which I'm going to grab from right here. Full access. I'm going to come over and put that in as my authorize. Close. Now I'll come into my get and execute. And you'll see there's our example. So once you have this all deployed, there's lots of different things you can use. By default, you get OpenAPI, Swagger, guidelines, checks, design review documents, GraphQL, schema, Postman collection, and you're free really to go into these docs, and anything you'd like to change, you can. So our OpenAPI v3 is just a script that uses all the data. If you want to make your own version of v3 or use ours, you can customize it by just changing this and creating a new doc and pasting the script. So that's the end of our demo to give you a little example how to import OpenAPI and then start iterating for your next version, and at any point generating docs and testing it out so that users can really get to play with this and give you feedback, so that users are part of this design of an API. Thank you.